Totally not ready to record. And we're live. Hey guys, what's going on? It's the Bad Wolf, the man in black, the international man of mysteries. Coming at you Wiley style as always. So to all the Loves, Lovets, Wilsons, Pickett's, Drumgold, Smiths, Johnsons, Abrahams, Isaac. Yeah, I got nothing. Everybody out there watching, hey, I just want to let you know I appreciate you guys. Hope you guys are doing well. Stay healthy, stay blessed, stay aware of what's going on. Um, Real quickly, you'll always find that I'm not like a big political person. I just like freedoms and rights. So if you're not about that, then exit stage right, I think, or get right or get left. Anyway, all I can say is this. I don't really care who you voted for or who you like or who you want to see in office, who you didn't like to see in office. All I'm going to tell you is this. No matter where your stance is on that, it's really irrelevant. None of those people are going to come down and really do a whole lot for you personally. But all I can say is that um, things are being shaken up. We're going to see where they fall. You need to still take care of you and don't let the politics which are designed for you to take sides, divide you, because in the world of war and business, it's divide and conquer. Prices of eggs are going to go up and down. There's still going to be all kind of crazy things, but let's just stay aware of what's transpiring. We've already seen what has transpired, and almost nobody can say that it was great. Hopefully, we're moving towards something great, but yet hopefully we're not moving towards something worse. But I will say, from some of the few things I've already seen, with them finding a lot of corruption and fraud and wasteful spending in the billions already within less than a week, that gives me hope. But as far as all the rest of that, I just want to see everybody treated good and fairly and to prosper and to do their best. And it's transition is needed from where we were because remember, you guys think a little bit differently than the average U.S. citizen out there. If you're watching my channel, you're probably not a U.S. citizen. Everything I say here is going to be crazy sounding to anybody who's a U.S. citizen. So this is not for you. This is for people who actually have critical thinking skills. And unless you're like, you know, an agent or my girlfriend's ex-boyfriend or friends, system workers, shills or whatever else. So, but for the rest of us who actually think outside the box and believe in the Constitution and privacy, private laws, don't get hung up in what they're doing. Everything out there, these music groups, these cabals, the elites, all of them are against you guys being anywhere close to where they are. Don't fall for the other people who appear to be one of you, but yet they're preaching things that cause you to treat people poorly. Got a little something right there. Oh, it's probably salt. Um, if you're following somebody that is giving you bad information, if you're following somebody listening to some music group or whoever it is, okay, whether it's Sexy Red, Nicki Minaj, Beyonce, or whoever else, look at what they're saying as entertainment so that they can draw your power from you. All these people out there, okay, even some of these YouTube people, they're all just trying to draw power from you. They want your attention. They don't want you to prosper. They don't want you for damn sure to be as wealthy as they are, because then that's no fun. They don't even want to see your quality of life go better. They want you to be a cow in its pen, munching on some hay, getting milked, and to harness what you are. And they don't want you to realize who and what you really are. That's and then you've got the ones who appear to be like us, but they pander to women to fool them and make them do stupid things. they downplay. There's males out there who downplay other males. Watch out for those people. Those are some of the most dangerous people. All of them are. Anybody who's not trying to uplift you, to me, is a problem. So don't give them your power. Okay. With that being said, hopefully everybody's healthy. May whatever God you believe in have mercy in your soul. And let's get going. You guys already know, hit that bell, like, subscribe. The guys are high on the totem pole as far as support. Ladies, you are only around 20 some percent. So there's that. You guys see anybody who's going to give my information in a negative way? Report them for bullying, slandering, defamation of character. Thank you in advance. As always, everything is on Black Slide 32. I'm not going to go into everything. You guys get most of it by now. If it's your first time, I appreciate you. Stay around because we've got some great stuff going on. Now, what we're going to talk about in this video is going to be about the deception of the privacy. We're going to talk about some private things. So let's just get into it. Let's get into it. All right, let's see if I can set up my screen. You'd think I'd have the screens already ready. Should. All right, here we go. So, okay. The reason why this video comes up is because sometimes we use words, and as I find new things to be careful about, I'm going to bring them to you as well. And one of those words is the term private person. Most of you guys hear me say the word private citizen because that's what police use us as their terminology. And technically, I guess it's a appropriate terminology for the public sector to refer to us in the private. Most people are like, "Well, I'm a private person." That can be used amongst you and your people, but when doing things legal, I'm going to show you why it's not a good idea to use the term private person in the legal context. I asked them, the Chatgpt, the term private person means a person who doesn't have sovereign or other special immunities or privileges. Explain this to me. So it says here that the term private person refers to an individual who is not granted any special legal protections. Now, here's the thing. You have to look at, so they're just saying any specific legal protection. Doesn't mean you don't get other things, but they're saying nothing legal. So in their system, if you refer to yourself as a private person, you get no special legal protections. But does that mean you don't get any lawful ones? Constitutional ones? This is what they're not saying. They're just saying you don't get any normal legal stuff. So is that horrible or not? It's ambiguous from a legal perspective, or at least from my perspective. So there's here, look, it says does not have sovereign. So as much as they say there's no such thing as sovereignty, even though it does in the Constitution, even though the states are mostly sovereign, not 100%. Here, once again, ChatGPT lies on itself. Here it is. Now, just because they use the word sovereign, you don't see the word citizen behind it. So it's just using the words, it just means sovereign here. Nothing special embellished with it. So they're saying the term private person in legal terms means legal jurisdiction, means you do not or will not or has not been granted any legal protections. Does not have sovereign or special immunity or privileges, means they are not exempt from legal proceedings. This would be what they call your average person due to their status. Example, meaning like people like government officials, diplomats, and judges may have certain immunities as long as they do their jobs right. The moment they waver, they lose it. which causes the person not to be subject to the legal process. Clarifies that a private person can be sued, arrested, or otherwise subject to legal systems, unlike those with immunity. Essentially, a private person is an ordinary citizen. So a U.S. citizen is in fact considered a private person. I said, what about a private citizen? A private citizen is similar. This doesn't mean exact. It's similar to a private person, but the term often carries a slightly different connotation.
Law. Here's a breakdown of what the gold fringe. A private citizen is an individual who is not acting in an official government or public capacity. They are members of the general public, as opposed to public officials, law enforcement, or government agents.
So this is what a police officer refers to us as a private citizen. Now, most police officers might even say like, "Oh, you're a private person." Most of them don't really know the subtleties of law, but there is actually differences. It tells you right here that they are different.
Agents. Like a private person, a private citizen does not have sovereign immunity or special legal privileges that would exempt them from legal processes.
Now, understand that this is kind of right, but also kind of misleading because we, in fact, do have immunities. However, because remember up here it said slightly different. But that doesn't mean that you are fully immune from everything. Nobody is. But if you notice here, it's not telling you what you have. It just says, oh, but see here, it says like a private person, a private citizen does not have sovereign immunity or special legal privileges. Okay. Private citizen emphasizes their status as a non-governmental individual, which means they don't have jurisdiction over you unless you waive your rights by doing something criminal, and then you get pulled into their jurisdiction. Whereas a private person is a broader legal concept. So the private person is a legal concept. It's a legal person, like a business. Person generally means all that. But right here, they refer to the private citizen as an individual, which usually means living. I said, what about a national of the United States? It then breaks down that there's, you know what? Let me let it read for all those naysayers out there.
Two categories of U.S. nationals.
Oh, so there's more than one category of nationals.
Nationals. U.S. citizens. All U.S. citizens are also U.S. nationals.
There you go. So for you U.S. citizens out there who watch this, and you federal agents, government agents, state agents, police officers, law enforcement, whatever else, because I know you guys watch my videos, I've been told you are also U.S. nationals. That's where you get the whole term Texan, Floridian, New Yorker, Californian. You have a truly private side called being a national or a state citizen.
Nationals. This includes people born or naturalized in the United States.
You have both. You can use both. The U.S. citizen, which is a legal public person, or the U.S. national, otherwise known as a state citizen, organic, de jure, terra firma based, constitutional, private law. Opposite of that is the public. That's why when they say citizens of the United States, they mean all of these things we're talking about, everybody's family.
States. Non-citizen national.
Extended family, I should say, but family nonetheless.
Nationals. These are individuals who owe allegiance to the U.S. but are not U.S. citizens. The main group in this category.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. So here when they say, look at, you have to be careful how they phrase things. See, when you learn to understand the law on the legal level, like the law department or the legal department, you start to understand. Here it says the main group. So that means if this is the main group, there's a main group, that means that there are other groups. It doesn't say the sole group. The only ones who can use this are.
Category consists of people born in American Samoa and Swains Island, U.S. territories.
So this is the main group, but that doesn't mean the only ones. How do we know that? Because under 8 FAM section 300, it expands upon more of this. So the AI does not give you everything it knows. It gives you a slice and writes it up from the legal perspective. Maritime jurisdiction. So here I start asking it about legal protections, who has it, who doesn't. Start talking about foreign sovereigns. Law enforcement as a limited type of qualified, corporate businesses. So basically everybody but the average private person, aka U.S. citizen, has all types of protections. If you notice right here, you do not see, it says sovereign entities. Presidents and vice presidents have certain immunities while in office. Well, this is a corporation. These are corporations. They're saying corporations have some immunities. That's why you should be operating yourself as a corporation, an entity. Well, I would say a unincorporated, but they have some. Diplomats, foreign officials. Do you see anywhere in here where it says U.S. citizen? No, because U.S. citizens are on the bottom of the totem pole. Nationals are on top of the totem pole. But let's push it. Okay, let's say so. Explain then nationals, which are what we are, in related or in relation, and when mentioned in 18 U.S.C. 112. So U.S. nationals are both citizens and non-citizen nationals. So that means we're both right here, literally. A citizen is a national. Right here, look, it says national of the United States. So we're nationals, but it says both citizens and non-citizen nationals. So we are all three of these. We are nationals, we are citizens, we are non-citizen nationals. But there's also a secondary class of non-citizen national, but it's also called U.S. non-citizen nationals. There's a difference. It says a U.S. So look at it. Look here. It also says here, if a U.S. national, so they're in the family too. But let me show you what they're not showing you. Okay, so you guys, you see this right here, right? Okay. Let me make sure you guys are seeing my screen. Okay, so check this out. This is how they play games. Cornell Law, EDU, 18, U.S.C. 112. Same code that ChatGPT just referenced, right? But now look what happens when I click on the definition of foreign official. Foreign official, for the purpose of this section, foreign government, foreign official, internationally protected person, international organization, national of the United States. I'm gonna let it hang there, a little hang time. I just shot that 3 and I got my hand in the air. And official guest will have the same meanings of those provided in the title 1116B of this title. So a foreign national, which is the same thing as a state citizen, and a national of the United States is the same thing as a state citizen, is the same thing as a non-citizen national, is the same thing as a foreign official. Protected person. I thought they said we didn't have any rights. Didn't the ChatGPT just say we didn't have any special immunities or anything? It's lying. It didn't even cover all of this information right here. Look, all of this, all of the revisements here. It didn't even cover all of this. So one could say it's not that thorough. We're not going to say that it's purposely lying, but it is selectively providing legal variants of the truth. Look, so you cannot trust and fully rely on ChatGPT for all of your rights and privileges and freedoms. It is good, but it ain't great. You still have to hunt. You still have to use people who find all of your rights and freedoms and interpretations. This is why a specific company reached out to me and said, we want to utilize your information and your teaching, your overstanding. I just literally showed you guys that. Right? I'm not making anything up, even if you don't agree with my interpretation, even though I literally just read it word for word and showed you Chat GPT and then showed you the actual law in Cornell Law EDU. Hi, Cornell Law. I know you guys watch my videos too. And even Cornell Law, who watches my videos, when I catch their mistakes, they update them. But they're also given information to update, aren't you guys? Now, speaking of private, let's check out some more things. No, not my private. That's saved for my lady. So. Or my OnlyFans site under the Badwolf. No, I'm just kidding. There's no such thing. Or is there? Hmm. Yarr. All right, so Black Laws last year edition 11. I guess I could break open 12 because I have that one now. So for those people who don't know about it, there's what's known as the Privacy Act, and there's also what's known as right to deletion. Okay, if they don't want to get rid of your information, you can say under the law of right to deletion or the right to privacy. So let's see what they have to say about privacy and private. So the first mentioning of private falls underneath, well, the word private. This is page 1448. Of or relating to or involving an individual. Okay, so they're looking at you as an individual, which usually means you're alive, living person, a being, human. not a monster, is as opposed to the public or the government. So it's the opposite. So we now know for sure there is a public and a private, two separate things. But they've merged us from their perspective. So unless you stand on it, you're assumed to be a public person of a company having shares that are freely available on the open market, or otherwise means confidential or secret. Private bank, private bill, private blockchain, private carrier. Let's see if we can find anything interesting. Private easements, private enterprise, private equity, privateering, and I haven't read this one in a long time. Privateering, which is where they get pirate. Anybody not in their system is considered a private or pirate. See what they did there? You guys still think pirates were really as bad as they say they were? That's kind of funny coming from the people with their official system when there's people out there who wanted to have free trade and may have been just fighting back for their privacy. Did you guys also know that the original pirates were actually Templars, Knights Templars? So men of the cross who were victimized by the church and the state and the king at the time because they all owed the Templars money and they went after them saying that they worshipped you know, not God, even though they wore the cross on everything they did and had open Bibles. And then they burned them on the stake at Friday the 13th, educationally speaking, because they didn't want to pay them back the money. So they left ahead of time because they were given advanced warning and then became pirates, privates. Privateering was a device for commerce. Commerce raiding in the time of war, written by the oppressors, by the way, whereby a private owned, manned, and armed ship could operate on the high seas as the high seas in commerce, maritime on the water jurisdiction. As controversial warships. Also, they were considered controversial because they weren't on your side. Interesting, belligerent and combatant. Makes you wonder about those words too, like native and savage. Savage must then just mean that you're not official in their book. Interesting how the words now suddenly have different meanings. The share was always capable of variation as between the sanctioning authority, usually the crown. So this was written. Oh, wait a minute. So if this was written by, that's their definition. You know what? I'm not going to go into all that. Anyway, this is based on the crown's perspective as the proposer prior to a voyage, and in every instance, the agreement was encapsulated in the letter of marque carried by the privateer as her warrant, her war rant. The Oxford Companion to the British history. So everything here is mentioned to be the crown and of British origin. So that would probably mean that this book is based and written by somebody who's loyal to or under the warrant of the Crown British Commerce Maritime Jurisdiction. Kind of like the U.C.C. appears to be. Let's see what else we have here. Private investigator, private international law, private judging. Alternative to a public judge. Private law. Oh, I thought there was no such thing as private law. The body of law dealing with private persons and their property and relationships. But once again, we just learned that private person usually means private, but still recognized in their system. So you have to be careful. I would say I'm a private citizen. state citizen, national, national of the United States, non-resident, and things of that nature. Privately owned U.S. flag commercial vessel. So if a U.S. flag on a commercial vessel, commercial means commerce. So U.S. flag, privately owned U.S. flag commercial vessel. Wonder if they mean the all fringed flag. Let's see what else. Private insurance, private mortgage, private party rule, private person. It says C person. Private river, private school, private zoning, private sector. The part of the economy or an industry that is free from the direct governmental control, the public sector. So there you go. We've been talking about, we've been operating. These are things for the private sector, non-federal, non-state, non-gov, which means unincorporated. So it goes on and on and on and on about all the private estate. So they want to say, oh, there's no such thing, private estate right here, private property, private land. Okay. Then so let's look up person because it says private person, but then it says just look up the term person. So person, 1A, a human being, also termed natural person. Okay. Natural is also part of the word native, NAT, natural. That's where it gets the root word nat. Absent person, adult disabled person, blah, blah, blah. Finally, we get to private person. One, somebody who does not hold public office. So that means you're not in the public. Unless you commit a crime, then you're not subject to their rules or statutes, regulations. Or serve in the military. Two, civil law. An entity such as a corporation or partnership that is governed by private law. Did you hear that? Now do you guys understand why the Vatican can take one of its people who likes, I won't say what you guys know. We'll just say, we'll say didify or diddled, is because they are their own government. They have their own private law. Now, by legal means, because there was damage done, those that entity, if pursued, now normally, depending on the relationships between, we'll just say the Schmatican and the MUS government, depending on what their relationship is like, the Musa government or whoever was damaged can say, hey, your people did damage. We need to be compensated financially. A regular family who is considered U.S. citizens going after the Schmatican might find it difficult to get damages, but the Schmatican can say, well, we're too big and powerful. Even though we did damage, you're not going to be able to get anything. Go ahead, get an international default judgment against us or claim. We'll just not pay them. But generally, they pay out because they don't want the publicity of getting away with these things. Because if it got out, then people are going to stop going to their smirches, educationally speaking. Protected person, smuggled person, blah, blah, blah. Artificial person, an entity such as a corporation created by law, so such as, which means there are more types that have certain legal rights and duties of a human being, meaning of means not the same as, meaning similar, but not the same. That's how powerful the word of is. A being real, a being, whether it's real or imaginary. Okay, well, a real person cannot be artificial. They can have artificial attachments. So they're saying a being. Now, understand here, as they're saying this, you have to look at this legally now. It says it has it's the artificial person has been given certain, meaning not all or the same, legal rights and duties of a human being. Of. Anytime in the word of, it usually means not the same, but similar. And then it goes, i.e., a being. Doesn't say what kind of being. That's how they play the game. It stops, says, colon, a being. There's lots of different, anything can essentially be a being if it has energy. Then it says real or imaginary. So a real being can be something that you've made, like a mannequin or whatever else. Hell, this little guy right here is a being. Or imaginary, which on the state level is your name in all capitalized letters. Does not say that part in the book. I'm adding that in because an artificial person is a legal person which has similar rights and privileges as a natural person. Okay, but let's read on. Who, for the purpose of legal, see how they keep putting the word legal in there? Because they have to differentiate where we are, what's being done here. Legal is different than lawful. Legal usually means in the corporate. Lawful generally almost always means constitutional, which is the real superior law. An entity is a person. Now, remember, when you hear the word person, it doesn't necessarily mean a living human being, because if it doesn't say it, then you can construe that it's not it. It has to specifically say. So when they say an entity is a person, they just mean a imaginary or real, meaning created entity being. So for the purposes of due process and equal protection clause, but it's not but not a citizen for the purposes of the privileges and immunities clause. So see how they split the hairs? There's different things going on. That's why you have to be careful on how you present yourself. And in the 14th Amendment, also termed conventional person. See how they modify it? Fictitious person, juristic person, juridical person, legal person, moral person, etc. Public person, sovereign government or body or a person delegated authority under it. Persona, a person, an individual human being. That is correct for the most part, but there are different types of persona. So down here it says persona ficta. That's what I was looking for. So the term persona means person, but there are different types of persons and personalities. That's why when somebody goes on stage and they become, whatever their stage name is, they're putting on their persona. The U.S. citizen is a legal persona. Persona ficta, a fictional person such as a corporation. Then it goes into talking about Roman lawyers and Roman law. And they were some of the first people to use the all capitalized name or format, the typography, which in Blacklaw's dictionary, which governs commerce, talks about in the definition section under conspicuous format, UCC 2 1 210, something like that. Anyway, it's under conspicuous format in the definitions. So spelling is really casting spells. It's energy, manipulation, and work. And when you have Black Law's dictionary and you know how to utilize the words and their definitions, or you force the court or whoever else to specify the use of a key term, you are a conjurer of magic, which is why the judge is wearing a black robe, the manipulator of black magic. Black magic doesn't necessarily mean bad, it just means that it is primordial. Until you take it and manipulate it, it doesn't have a designation. What was the other? Oh, I was going to look up something else. What was the other word? Uh, I think I was going to look up private citizen. So let's see if they have that in here. Nope. So when a police officer refers to you as a private citizen, it is not a recognized word. It is their slang for the private. The term private person, once again, it just says refer to person, and then underneath person, it has all of the different types, but it does not say private citizen. So you can see how ChatGPT differs a little bit from Black Law's dictionary. Okay, now I'm going to switch to the latest one, and let's see if there's an update. Let's see here. Yeah, they are about the same size. It's cleaner looking. Well, we've got some new terms in here. Okay. Nope, they still do not have the term private citizen in here. So let's go to person. See how much work it takes just to look up one thing so you can get lost in all of this? Like it's crazy. Private person looks to be the same. They also have now in here protected person. So that must mean that they're in general, because we're using Black Law's dictionary, which is considered to be for, let me say this correctly so you guys understand this. It's private law. Okay, this is a private dictionary because the maritime jurisdiction is legally considered private, but it's so big it's called the public. So when addressing the book, it is to be understood that they're referring to these matters as for U.S. citizens or members of the public. Yeah, that's how wacky it gets when you start looking at jurisdiction. Because, see, look, not anybody in the world, like say somebody from, I don't know, Mauritania can come here and be a U.S. citizen. If that's the case, then that's not a part of the international public. You're then just a part of a membership where you have to be brought in. So then that's private. So overall, the U.S. citizenship is a private thing. But to us in it or living right here, it's so big, it's called the public. Okay. So that means that everything in here is based on U.S. citizen and the public person, other than here when they refer to a private person. So so either the term private citizen by police officers means essentially the same thing, but it's not recognized as a having legal standing because it's not in the book, which means then that term is truly a private thing, but it has no standing in law, but it has standing with police officers. And then they also have personal law, the law that governs a person's family matters. So you can have your own personal laws amongst your family or amongst your own private nation. Sometimes also called lex patriae or territorial law. It's your territory, it's your law, but it's lex patriae. Patriae is really means patriarch or father, so father's law essentially. But parens patriae means parents' law, parents' father, the father-law, and that's meaning that you are under the governance of the state or a state. All right, guys, that is it. I will talk to you guys later. Hope you guys enjoyed the information. Hope you found it interesting. If you did, hit that bell, like, subscribe. And if you haven't done it before, then when you do it, welcome to the tribe. Talk to you guys later. Wolf out.